Hey, this is Jordan with the band The Lords of the Opium Church, and you're listening to the Doom Tomb. All right!
I mean, they started harassing me when I started talking about hell, because they said, all right, party time. All of my friends are going to be down there.
Hell yeah, rock and roll.
This is the Doomtombpodcast, the podcast for all of the heavy underground. My name is Chris, I am your host, and today we're going to Tucson, Arizona for an occult rock psychedelic doom band by the name of Temple, TMPL. They had a release late last year, coming up on a year ago actually, called Deathbed. They also had a track in September of 2020, Sleeping in the Fire. Yeah, you know who that's by. All right, we're going to talk about all that and so much more. Let's get into the interview right now. So we're going to go to Tucson, Arizona today. And, you know, we've been there before and for different reasons. And we interviewed this band a little while ago, and they have been really prolific. You know, sometimes the pandemic does some pretty decent things, and it inspires people. It brings stuff out. They have put out a few things. They put out a single, a cover song, and also their latest release is called Deathbed. And I got the pleasure to see them at Yucca Tap Room not too long ago, and we got to talk about that. But let's introduce everybody. This is the band Temple. How you doing today?
Doing well, thanks. How you doing?
Everything's going good, man. You know, we got to talk about Deathbed. Do you mind if we get into it?
Yeah, totally.
Now, before we do, can everybody just go around, introduce yourselves real quick?
So I'm Abby. I'm the singer.
Guitar. My name's Austin.
My name's Zach. I play drums.
I'm Tyler. I play bass.
My name is Podcast, and I do a Chris. So let's get rolling, dude. All right. So I tell you what, let's get right into this. Let's talk about Deathbed. We kick everything off with Negative Existence. Now, this is like, and for those that don't know about Temple, let's just talk for a sec. It's like, it's kind of doom, gothic, occult psych. And this Negative Existence, it's really setting the scene for what this release has. What can you tell me about Negative Existence?
Well, basically, it was the idea that we were going to have some kind of ambient track to open the album. And when we recorded the album, we actually went to Tyler's parents' house to do all of the tracking. We did it just all in kind of one day. And they have they have a big living room with really tall ceilings, like this big Adobe house. So It was a perfect sound for what we needed. And it was raining on that day.
It happened to be raining a lot.
So basically, while it was raining, I put out a mic just to capture the actual like rain sound from their back porch. And then we kind of simultaneously tracked some singing bowls. Like we had Tyler and Zach and Abby were all playing singing bowls while I was running the controls. And we kind of got some of that. And then we had, what was the didgeridoo?
Yeah, I played didgeridoo. I just stood there and blasted low tones and high tones on this didgeridoo in that living room for like 45 seconds or something. And then you stretch those out. And to me, they sound like a war horn or something crazy like that.
That's awesome that you're bringing such different things, such different elements to the genre. I mean, we can go on and on about, you know, the further tracks and what you're doing, but I really appreciate that you're bringing such different elements. Now, was that something you thought of beforehand, or it was just kind of like last minute?
Well, we brought the singing bowl specifically because we knew we wanted to capture some singing bowl kind of stuff that we wanted to capture and then like later manipulate. But the fact that it rained was totally serendipitous.
And I think the idea of having ambient sounds that come from instruments that are not really usual, I guess, for this kind of music or music similar to this, it's because, I don't know, that's just what felt natural. Just using what we know of and...
kind of what we have around too.
Yeah, what we have around. And creating a sound that just, I don't know, it's like a world sound rather than just, you know, oh, I'm trying to be rock and roll, or, oh, I'm trying to be something else, you know.
That is awesome. I love to hear it. And I love to see where people go. You never know. And speaking of, let's go into the second track here. Thoughtless Side. Here we got this track, comes out heavy. And then that vocal. Oh, God, that vocal. Let me tell you something. If you people have not seen Temple live, you got to come out to Arizona and check it out. Or at least go on my social media or go on some social media, check them out, see if you can find it live, because they really bring it. And that's kind of what I was feeling. I was feeling like this live concert thing through this Thoughtless side. And then you go through this like speedy chug with the solo that I just wasn't expecting it.
It started with the bass riff.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I brought the bass riff to a practice at some point, and
That opening bass riff.
Yeah,
and that set the key and the tone, and I had a couple other riffs with it too that like changed to like a dominant or whatever, and did like kind of a Middle Eastern thing, and then I guess they liked the sound of what I was doing enough that we turned into like a whole deal.
Yeah, I had some lyrics that I was like trying to go through all the lyrics I have to see if anything kind of matches. And I mean, before the lyrics even come in, right away when he played that riff, I was like, oh, okay, I hear what's gonna happen from my part. Totally, it's like evident what I need to do. But with the lyrics, that also just some of it that I was reading just stood out, and I was like, oh yeah, this is exactly the feeling that I get when I listen to this riff. So that's what I gotta say about that.
The most fun part about that track for me was recording the middle section with Zach. That like weird psychedelic trippy shit in the middle.
Yeah.
Zach and I did like 2 or 3 takes of just like improv off of like I don't know, top of our head sort of deal. Just like felt it, grooved it out. Kept to a couple basic ideas, but then we got one take that felt really, I guess to them, felt really sweet. I was pretty critical of it when we laid it down, but after we got all of the layers on it and everything and got it all fully produced, it ended up sounding really, really sick and nasty and crazy and psychotic. And
I don't know, Abby. You got this like rabbit hole dream state kind of thing. What's going on? Was there some kind of sleep paralysis? What was happening here?
Okay, I'm gonna be so honest with you right now. So, I mean, honestly, it's kind of deep for me because I love sleep and I really value the ability to dream and to recall dreams. And I think that they're a very important part of our consciousness or beyond. But I don't always get to enjoy that, especially in the past, because one of our handful of animals is this fluffy, beautiful black cat. And his name is Ludwig. And Ludwig loves to do the little kneading thing that cats do, where they make, they're kneading bread or whatever on your skin with their little claws. So some of that translates into the lyrics, and the fact that I'm disrupted from falling into these strange places because of something mundane like a cat, but also it's my cat. I love my cat. It's actually your cat, kind of.
It is my cat. That's okay.
Yeah, he's all fluffy and innocent, but he's like stopping my progress,
Let's give a huge thank you to Ludwig for just giving us a great track. If it's not for the cat, yeah, exactly. Claps all around, obviously. And yeah, man, it just brings it, and it's a great track to kick everything off right after the introduction. Let's take a minute to talk about Desert Records out of Albuquerque, New Mexico. The record label focusing on desert rock, doom metal, stoner rock, psychedelic rock, heavy metal, and experimental music with bands like The Angelus, with a pre-order of The Misery Men, Devolution, Brand New Dizygote, Sorsha, L'Uomo Nero, Redbeard Wall, Legends of the Desert Volume 2 with The Penitent Man and Cortege, Doors to Nowhere, and so much more. You can get all of that with their subscription service. The link is in the show notes. It's time. It's time to enter the desert. And then we go into Graveyard Gospel, heavy. And I don't know, man, I guess the question, what is actually going on in this Sonoran desert out here? I see some interesting lyrical content. What can you tell me about it?
So actually that was a song that's originated from some riffs that I'd been sitting on for a while that I just kind of developed. And after I'd take the original riffs don't actually end up in the song. All the riffs for the song developed out of something else. But when I came upon the actual riff that ended up in the song, the name Graveyard Gospel kind of came to me, and I was like, oh, there's the hook. So I knew right then and there, I was like, all right, I know exactly how this song can be structured. And I put it together with the lyrics, which was inspired by several true events and a couple of various experiences that I had.
Right.
But the whole idea was just kind of like the general outline of like the very beginning is like the beginning of like a ritual or a ceremony, and the middle section is where you enter the trance and you're like connected to the divine, where it like speeds up and you're like in a different time signature and the solo happens, and then you go back into the beginning again when you do like the closing of the ceremony.
I noticed that like right around the 3:15 mark, you got this change into what I have to consider, and I really, Abby, I apologize, but I just keep having to go back to these vocals of, it's like this stoner rock opera at around this 3:15 mark, and then it changes back, and it's like you've got this kind of bell curve of sorts where it goes up, it reaches this crescendo, and then it comes back into what you started off. So completely unique.
You have Austin to thank for that. He came up with the lyrics and the basic melody.
All the riffs.
Yeah.
Yeah, this was like one of the few songs where I've been like, I was able to put the whole thing together, all the riffs, the lyric, like, I showed the song to the band, and Abby was like, I don't know what I'm supposed to do with these lyrics. I'm like, well, let me sing it for you.
I was like, yeah, let me just record it, please. Like, just show me what you want. And he's like, okay, fine, but it's really easy. And he did it, and I'm like, oh, that's like, I wouldn't have thought of that right away. Like, thank you for not making us wait 3 months for me to figure that out myself,
Before we move on to another track, I just have to say the drums on that song fucking
make it.
Yes.
Like when I first showed the riffs, and like Zach was like, no, we gotta start this drum intro, and like he just played it. I'm like, oh yeah, that's it.
I completely understand, and and it also makes it much more powerful. Again, like I really have to impress upon this, that if that's the right word, that the live performance, it just rounds everything out so well, man. I was so blown away when I saw you all live, and what you brought, and I don't mind even sharing it, that I said, you know what, I know where we are, and we're at a bar or a club or whatever. This has the opportunity to have such bigger surroundings and be at a such higher level.
Yeah, we really appreciate those words, and we appreciate like what you've done to help us as well. Like it's definitely been, we're glad that you had us on last time. We're glad you're having us now.
All right, on, man. So I think what we'll do is go into the next track then. We got Deathbed here. Yeah. We've got a slow burn, kind of sauntering, little meandering, ending rather peacefully. What can you tell me about this track?
Definitely channeled the like 80s goth vibe going on. This was one of the ones where it was just kind of like there was like a handful of riffs already written, but we kind of had to bring it all together as a band to like arrange it. Abby wrote all the lyrics.
The lyrics, oh man, it took me a very long time. The melody also took me a very long time. The only thing that I had structured when I went in to record my part for this song was the chorus. That just came to me one day when I was driving down 5th. I was like looking at all the houses I like, and I just felt like really happy that day, and I had been listening to the track for a long time, and the melody came into my head with the lyrics, like the one dance with the devil, blah, 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 blah. Okay. That was pretty easy to figure out. And I thought, oh, you know, I can do one section in a low octave, the other one in a high octave, and it's like, you know, the audience gets to hear the motif before the actual climax happens, so
Right.
they'll be able to recall it and they'll feel more connected to it, and it flowed really well. I had a lot of ideas floating around for lyrics and melody stuff for everything in between, but I could never completely solidify it. So then we went to Tyler's parents' house, and it's like, you know, this beautiful dome-like ceiling, and it's Adobe, so it looks all like old and grand. So I'm just there with the mic, and it's dark by now because all the guys did their stuff. And
we lit a bunch of candles too.
There's like candles, so I'm like, oh yeah, all right, I'll just make something happen, make something up basically, and you know, we'll just go with it and use what we have. So I did like 3 takes of just like all the lyrics I had put together in their order before I'd gotten there. And we kind of pieced it together and made it into something beautiful, I think.
Absolutely.
Yeah, we took the best parts of all the takes and basically compiled what ended up being the final take.
I just like the musicality of the song. I think it's very pretty all together. I think it's just a really beautiful piece of music.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's harmonically, it's really simple, which is kind of what's cool about it. And what
No, I don't agree.
I don't
It's
know.
simple except for the chorus.
Well,
the chorus just elevates because of that weird thing you do.
Well, like harmonically, it's repetitive, but what makes
Yeah.
it like, what breaks it up is the changes in the time signature. So like actually building it just by like the time changes, I think what makes it interesting.
The time changes are great. I love them, but they're difficult.
Yeah, and again, you know, for people that are really lyric hounds, check out the lyrics. You won't be disappointed. There's some great material here, and I like it. Just that sound of you know, what is it here? It's I might get burned, but the scars I've earned. Wow. You get chills. You get chills thinking about that. Well, thank you for going over those tracks. Now, with this last track with Deathbed. Is this a precursor to the next amount of material, or do you have any new material that you're working on that is closer aligned with some of these other tracks?
There's some material that we've been working on. One song that I have is it's not very similar to the Deathbed track, but it's like has kind of like a similar time changes, and it's like a clean guitar setting, but it's a little bit rockier. So like some other stuff gets a little bit heavier, but it's also like we're playing with timing more too.
Yeah.
I have a few ideas floating around too, but I mean, I think mostly what we've talked about as a group is that we really like the feeling of stuff like Graveyard Gospel. We really like performing that song. It's just so much energy, and so I think we talked about sort of trying to gravitate towards that sound a little bit more as well.
A lot like doomier, like add a little bit more like funeral elements.
Yeah, absolutely. I think definitely a little bit of that dragging element is exciting somehow with the way that we use it.
I used to play in a funeral doom band, and Abby told me all the time, she's like, why don't you like write riffs like you were still playing in Chronovorus?
He did that one day. He's like, oh, you want me to do that? I'm like, yeah, go ahead. And he literally wrote a perfectly good riff. I'm like, that's gonna go on our next thing that we release. like that's perfect.
Absolutely, and the inspiration just comes from everywhere. Speaking of the inspirations, can you tell me, because Abby, you're at it again with this this cover. I know you do a lot of the art pieces for Temple. What can you tell me about the artwork for Deathbed?
Oh man. Okay, so I had in mind like the general imagery of it, and I think Austin probably had something similar going on in his mind. Just bones, kind of, because they're cool and they bring, certain elements to the atmosphere. Deathbed, yeah. And deathbed, like with a lot of meanings in mind. And deathbed as in like, whether it's one or the other, it's probably going to have sheets on it. And I thought, okay, sheets. I need something really nice and satiny, because when I take that photo, I really want to get like...
really sexy.
Really,
something really
sheen,
sexy.
And it pops.
Candles. Yeah, right.
Again, like channeling that like 90s goth vibe.
Right.
So, and the fur, that was also just like, I think this is just going to add an element of like, I don't know, a little bit of like wild side kind of, feeling, I guess, or rawness. But anyway, Austin and I got together one day and we went to our front living room window.
And we set it all up and basically had it all staged and took a bunch of photos.
Took a lot of photos. And I edited them and did a bunch of weird coloring stuff to them. And we were like, oh yeah, that looks good. And that's what you see on the cover of the EP.
Yeah, and then the inside is the same, yeah.
Yeah. And
it looks very interesting to me. Okay, so I just blew it up so I could see it at a bigger stance. But when I looked at it officially on Bandcamp for the first minute or so, I'm like, deathbed body bag kind of thing. But as you go closer, and that's one of the beauties I love, because I just interviewed a band recently that their cover art, as you look at it, and this is what I love about yours as well, there's more and more to see. And you can envelop yourself in that, and you can take that down whatever road you want to take. But I just like it when everything's not exactly what it is right up front. You gotta kind of search around and look and see what it is. We will get back to the podcast in just a minute, but before we do, we have to talk about Glory or Death Records out of Oceanside, California. Sabbath Buddy Sabbath, Bow to Your Masters, Volume 1 and Volume 2, tributes to Thin Lizzy and Deep Purple, Formula 400, about to go on tour very soon. Brand new Kvasir, Call of the Wild, King Gizzard and the Lizard Wizard, Old Fashioned Assassin, Moss Generator, Kook, Red Witch, Johnny, the list goes on and on. Ethereal Sea, Blasting Rod, Heavy Velvet, you know what to do. Go to the show notes and click the links and buy it all. It's Glory or Death Records, defending the faith. So before Deathbed, just what we got, like about 2 months before. Now, we talked about this on the previous podcast, but you've put it out. I got to hear it. Sleeping in the Fire, a Wasp cover. And then, hey, man, love or hate him. I don't care. I love him. And I thought it was incredible. I was waiting to hear it live. You pulled it off amazingly. Why that choice?
We love that song.
Yeah, and Wasp is fucking awesome.
Yeah. And that song, I don't know, I felt like it was...
It's underrated.
Underrated
first of all.
And fun, and we wanted to take it farther, and we felt like it gave us space to do that.
Yeah, every time I listen to the actual track now, the Wasp version, I'm like, oh, they're playing it too fast.
Those assholes.
So you just got to slow it down a little bit. Take it easy.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. We dropped the tempo a bit. We changed the key. like we're in a different tuning and everything. So we
Absolutely.
and we totally rearranged it as well because like the Wasp version is pretty short.
Yeah, it's like the first 2 or 3 verses or whatever that I do, the chorus that everyone knows, and then it kind of just does a verse or something again and starts to fade out after that pretty much. So we thought...
So we repeated one of the verses, added like some solo sections.
Yeah, and we made the solo section very extreme and
Trippy.
and ornamented.
Uh-huh.
So we really had fun with that, I think. At least I know I did.
That's awesome. So, okay, so we got that. And like I said, I wanted to touch a bit because that live performance was so freaking awesome. Where are you getting your inspiration for how you're presenting everything on stage?
Yeah, it's just kind of what we have around. You know what I mean? Like,
and what we feel that just feels like it resonates with
the music, with like the music
I
that we're
guess.
making.
Yeah.
You know, part of putting on a good live performance is like, you know, having a stage presence, but also like kind of setting an atmosphere. And so that's why we like have all the candles and like we wear bones and we kind of match a little bit. And we, you know, we want to make the live experience, you know, something different than just the listening experience, but also like,
But at least equal to it, if not better.
Yeah, and occultism is really like ritualistic, right? So I think that candles give it kind of like a ceremonious feel, which lends itself to the whole occult rock.
And kind of a seriousness, like this isn't just, you know, I mean, it's obviously for fun kind of, but it's not just, you know, like drawing with chalk.
Right. It's passion. It's just straight passion. And that's what you feel. And please, absolutely, please keep doing it. I loved it. I can't say enough about it. And I don't want to. It's hard because I don't want to really describe it. I'd rather people just go out and see it. Would you please? But if by chance you're not in Arizona, you're not in Tucson or Phoenix or wherever, there is a chance to see you. So tell us about this video and where can people check that out?
so our video is coming out on September 21st. So that's next month. We filmed it after we got back from the little mini tour that we did when you saw us at Yucca.
Right.
And it was for Deathbed for the song off of, you know, the last EP. And we basically kind of recreated the cover image in a way, and we shot ourselves performing there and kind of set up in a similar way that we would live. And I think the final product came out really well. We released the trailer yesterday.
Yes. Yeah, yesterday.
Yeah, and so by the time this comes out, it'll have been a few days at least. So you can check that out on our Facebook page to see the trailer, and then we're going to be posting the actual video on September 21st.
Oh, fantastic. All right, and I have just a few more quick questions here. So, you know, with the vast amount of genres that you're covering, I'm sure you're listening to something that I haven't heard of. What is everybody, if you can go around the room a little bit, what are you listening to now? Listening. I'll get the word out. Don't worry. Listening is the word I was trying to get at. What are you listening to now, and what are you looking forward to somebody putting something new out?
Lately, just for like listening for pleasure, I've been gravitating towards jazz, which I haven't listened to a lot of in the last like year or two. I used to listen to a lot more jazz, but I'm listening to this stuff called gypsy jazz, which my buddy Nathan showed me a while back.
Just Django Reinhardt is amazing.
I don't know any other names, but all of the guitar work is just really impressive, and like anything gypsy jazz is just super exciting. And
I love gypsy jazz.
That's what I've been up to.
Gypsy jazz is good. Yeah.
What makes it?
So actually,
wait, hold on, just one sec. What makes it gypsy jazz? Is there like some flamenco guitar or something?
Yeah, so I think it's the instrumentation being like a nylon guitar, probably.
So, Zachary, sir, I'm not hearing much from you. So, can you just please let me know, what are you listening to that is making you pound on those skins so hard?
Oh, well, quite the opposite, actually. A lot of hip hop, more specifically a band called Hiatus Coyote. But it actually, for me, it doesn't really influence a lot of my drumming in this band. But more so the soundscape stuff that Highest Coyote does, that's kind of where I bring, because I like to work with Austin and everyone like in the post process, like when we're still stitching the song and stuff together. So I think that's kind of where I get a lot of my inspiration with what I currently listen to.
Okay.
But one of my favorite drummers, metal drummers, is Adam Gray. So if anybody is a drummer out there listening to this, look up Adam Gray. And that's kind of where I get a lot of my drumming inspiration for this group specifically. And just as a metal drummer when I actually do that.
Give me a heads up. Adam Gray, what band?
There it is. Texas in July. Texas in July is the name.
Okay. So Abby, like I don't remember. Do you do a lot of vocal warm up before your before the set?
Oh yeah, I probably could sing it without warming up, but like especially when you saw me, I was actually losing my voice very much. So I had to warm up or else I would not have been able to perform probably. But always if you warm up, you're gonna not mess up as much when you sing the melodies. It'll be smoother every time.
Probably went over like a while before we started playing.
Just sometime during the day, yeah. Sometime like either like 10 a.m. or later, probably.
Yeah, when we were on the road for that little mini tour, I remember starting around like noon. Like every day, Abby would you'd hear Abby be like,
and just some breathing exercises.
So while we're with you, Abby, what are you listening to currently?
Oh man, okay, so today I was in the mood for Typo Negative. This happens a lot, and it's probably an influence on some of the music for Temple that I write. I am almost always listening to or going back to The Devil's Blood since I discovered it a few years ago. I was listening to Joan Jett recently, but something that is like always in my head is kind of this style of music, but there's an album called, I believe it's Wherever You Turn Your Head Is the Face of God. It's like the absolute most beautiful album I've ever listened to in my life. I don't understand any of the words, which is part of the reason that I like it, and the words are kind of sparse if they are there. And it's basically Sufi music from Turkey.
Yes.
And Sufism is, like the people that spin with like robes and they go into a trance.
Yes.
And they spin and spin and spin until like, okay. So I discovered this music in a college class, and this is like my favorite type of music. It's kind of like, I don't know, I guess exotic for America, but it feels like music for my soul, basically. Just anything that has kind of an organically made, musical element in general, or, all together, I'm with it.
That sounds awesome.
Yeah, that album's amazing. I listened to that quite a bit, actually.
All right. I thank you for all that. I guess the final question would probably be kind of apropos, and that is, what is your favorite dinosaur, or what dinosaur do you connect with the most?
Everyone looks at me for all of these for some reason, so probably because they know I have an answer ready to go with this bullshit. So
I can't wait to hear it.
My girlfriend calls me T-Rex, so that's where my mind immediately goes. But if I had to be a dinosaur, I think I'd want to be something that flies, like a pterodactyl.
Pterodactyl. Okay, fair enough. All right.
Are the Brontosaurus? Is that the really tall one?
Yeah, it's one of them.
The one with the giraffe neck?
Yeah. I'd be a Brontosaurus because they're just cool.
I think that's who I'd identify
Vegetarian.
as.
Also.
Yeah.
Right.
They're all like nice and low to the ground.
So I was going to say Velociraptor, but I don't want to sound like the edgelord. So I'm going to go with Triceratops, because that's still pretty badass.
I like that. And, I'm looking as you're telling me, and I'm thinking, because I need something low to the ground. I'm not a vertical person. I don't like to jump around a lot. And I'm looking like Stegosaurus, maybe. There's some other one what's the one that kind of looks like, it's kind of like the rhinoceros or whatever. Like, of the dinosaur world. Am I missing one?
The Triceratops? I think
Is that it?
Well, the Triceratops has like the three horns.
Yeah.
There's
That might be it.
What's interesting about dinosaurs is there's a million variations of all the like really well-known dinosaurs. So there's the Triceratops, but there's a whole group of dinosaurs called the Ceratopsians, I think, which are like Nasutoceratops and all these other fucking ones.
Leave it to fucking Tyler.
But you know what? Thank you, because as I'm looking, I think I am that. I think I am the Triceratops, believe it or not. All right. Thank you very much for that. So it's Temple, TMPL, and I know they can reach everybody. You can reach out to them on Bandcamp. Anywhere else where people should come and find you?
Temple.official on Instagram.
Temple.band on Facebook.
Yeah. That's all on the social media.
Yes.
If you want to email us, it's on our Facebook page.
Yeah.
Right on. And when are you going to come around again and do some more touring?
We're working on it.
Yeah, we're trying. It's a challenge right now.
Yeah, things are getting weird again, so we're not sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know. I've heard. We'll talk after.
Yeah. We're trying to get some stuff maybe, like we're shooting for like November-ish, but like that's a big if.
Yep.
We probably can't do December, so hopefully we can do some more shows before the end of the year, but maybe not. We'll see.
Right on, man. All right. Well, thank you all so much. And I love talking to you people. And, maybe sometime I'll get my ass down to Arizona or down to Tucson, and maybe you can get a show there. So we got the 191 Tool. We got the Rialto. Where else can people book some shows in Tucson that you would suggest?
So Club Congress is probably the best venue, like aside from those two.
Right.
There's for like all ages. You've got Solar Culture and you've got the Rock.
Thunder Canyon, I think, was over
Thunder
21.
Canyon. Yeah, Thunder Canyon Brewery just started doing shows, so they're doing shows. There's a couple places now, not as many as there were before, and
some of the stages are smaller.
Yeah, but things were starting to happen. We'll see how they go from here, but like there are places that are like doing shows, and there's a couple places you can book now.
Right on. Thank you all so much, and just stick around for a minute, and don't leave yet. Don't leave. But thank you. This has been Temple, and we'll be back with another one real soon. Thank you to all of the members of the band Temple. I think it's time to hear a track off of Deathbed. Let's hear it. It's track number 3. This is Graveyard Gospel. Hey, thank you so much for hanging out towards the end, man. Always appreciate that. And we have something to talk about. But hey, Ian, yes, Ian, please, can you cue the music? I really appreciate it. And there you go, man. Yeah, just let that ride a little bit. That's, oh yeah, there you go. There you go. Just let it ride. Let it ride. So just in case you didn't know, the band Stonewitch has opened up the podcast for a very long time, pretty much since the beginning, and we try to keep it going. They are what we would consider here the house band. Now, I don't know which member of Stonewitch would play Doc Severinsen or maybe Questlove from The Roots, but that is the band. Maybe I should be behind a desk, like tapping a pencil and grabbing a coffee mug with, well, probably full of, like bourbon or something like that. Probably scotch. Maybe scotch. Yeah, that might be it. Either way, I just wanted to make sure everybody knew that the house band for the Doom Tomb podcast is the band Stonewitch. We've been throwing a few extra things in now and again, and we're going to highlight some of the Sonoran Desert Doom bands that are out here on the podcast, sprinkled in throughout, or it's the beginning, it's the end, it's the sides. You get the idea. All right, speaking of, Ian is in the band Stonewitch, and he's also the man behind all things sound for the Doom Tomb podcast. We always give him huge thanks. And if you need a link, we've got a link for Temple as well as craniumradio.com. And if you need to reach us, doomtombpodcast@gmail.com. That's not enough, though. We got one other thing. Well, it's kind of one thing, but it's in two parts. It's Planet Mammoth Presents. Now, we've got one coming up. It's coming up soon. September 25th. Got a couple of killer bands. Sweet Danger rising up in the ranks in Maricopa County and ready to take on the motherfucking world. Then Mississippi Nova. Holy shit. Ryder sent me a track from their upcoming release, the new Mississippi Nova, moving to a 4-piece, changing some members. You got to check it out. It just rips, man. It is a great killer track. I can't wait to hear the whole album. Then, Via Vengeance. We've interviewed Shane a couple of times on the podcast. He always brings the heavy, and you got to see it live to experience it. He's a one-man doom band. If you haven't seen that yet, shit, you gotta check that out. And if that's not enough, the headliner, Motorbabe with pure rock fury and an underground setting. The Nile Underground in Mesa, Arizona. You do not want to miss it. $10 in advance, $13 at the door. Eventbrite is where you can find it, and the link will be, yeah, you know it. It's in the show notes. We just kind of sideways or so announced one more show. It's going to be on a weekday, so we got to call the legions of fans. We got to call all the people in the Sonoran Doom scene to come on out. Hey, you know what? It's going to be on a Tuesday. Why don't you come on out to Arizona and check us out? Las Vegas, California, Texas, New Mexico, because it's going to be a kickoff for the band Formula 400 and their tour. Then you've got Mezoa, Grail, and Secrets of Lost Empires. That is going to be Tuesday, October 19th, and that is at Yucca Tap Room, right off of Mill Avenue. That show starts at 7:30, and that one's free. So you better shake your asses on over there. All right. Thanks, everybody. We'll have another podcast episode coming up. Mammoth Mondays, you know, all that shit. It's coming real soon. And, yeah, it's good to come soon. I like that. That's well, all right. Maybe, no, stop. Scratch that. That didn't come out right. But you know what I mean. All right. Thank you. Love you all, and we'll talk to you soon. Take care of yourselves. Get out to those shows. Buy that band merch. And don't forget to stay heavy.